right, folks. I wanted to address something that's been irritating the ever loving shit out of me, and I kind of don't care if it offends anybody. I wanted to address this because, as I've stated before, when I first started this channel, it was not ever intended, and it is still not my intention, to turn it into a Stephen Avery all the time channel. It was more just my observations of the world and, some common sense shit that I'm sitting there like, how did your mother never teach you this? And so occasionally I'll see something that I think needs to be talked about. And today is one of those days. What the fuck is with all these syndromes? I know I addressed this briefly in a previous video, but it's really starting to drive me fucking nuts. Not everything is a fucking syndrome. The fuck is with this shit, guys? I've said before, and I've said it in many videos, and I'll probably say it in many more. I have a lot of children. I have 7 children total. 6 live with us full time. And, my second son, the schools for years tried to tell me that my son had ADD. And I'm like, no, he doesn't have ADD. It's just that he's super fucking smart and your shit's boring him. I know, because I was the same way. And, I see a lot of these parents. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, like ADHD or anything like that. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I am saying that some of these syndromes, I personally do feel are bullshit. And some of them, I think they're mislabeled. And some of them, I think, are just over fucking diagnosed. ADHD is number 1 on the top of my list. It irritates the shit out of me. How much I hear, oh, well, my child has ADD. My child has ADD. No, your kid doesn't. Your child is a normal fucking child who is active and energetic, and you just don't want to deal with that. You don't want to actually be a parent, and so you're doping him up on a shitload of meds, and that's unnecessary. I knew this chick back in Florida. I actually knew 2 of them, and they were friends, and they each had a daughter roughly the same age as my oldest. And, one friend, her child had, a few little select issues, I'm going to say, because I really don't feel that, this kid is she's incredible. But she was diagnosed with these things. And then the other one claimed that her child had the exact same symptoms and syndromes that this one had, but I knew that was not the fucking case. And what it was that she wanted these medications to make her child less childlike so she could be a lazy fucking bitch. And I'm going, what the fuck are you doing? Do you realize that at this age, their brains are still developing, and, when you put those extra chemicals in there, that's gotta fucking chinger something. It's gotta fuck something up. I told you, I use a lot of Spanish slang. Sorry. What the fuck is with this? My child has oppositional defiance disorder. No, your child's a brat, and they're a brat because you don't fucking parent them worth a shit. Now I have seen some cases of actual oppositional defiance disorder. And in that case, I think that's just like a really nice way of saying it's itty bitty, personality disorder. It's baby personality disorder. That's what this is, because that's essentially what it is. They have an issue with authority, blah, 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 but that's indicative of a personality disorder. That's indicative of a mood disorder in adults. And I don't understand it. My son, my oldest, a couple years back when he was still in middle school, his counselor wanted me to take him to a psychiatrist and put him on antidepressants. No, I'm not putting my fucking 14-year-old son on antidepressants. Are you insane? First of all, it is known that antidepressants in children under the age of 18 can usually, amplify the depression rather than, treat it. Second of all, in my day, that was called teenage angst. It's fucking normal. It's normal for them to have those mood swings and all that other, for fuck's sake, people. Okay, so my son wears black clothing. Okay, so he listens to a lot of fucking metal bands and he wears eyeliner and, wears a black trench coat. You know what else? He is a very gifted musician. He is a very caring and compassionate child. He's very helpful. He's extremely well behaved. He's a straight A student. He's a very caring and loving older brother to his entire family. And, he's a hard worker. And for Christmas, he wanted to buy his girlfriend a very cute little necklace. And he went out and did some odd jobs around town for some folks and earned the money himself to buy his girlfriend this gift. And, it's so funny because I'm like, you guys are only seeing this part of him in school and you're wanting me to take him to a psychiatrist to put him on antidepressants. What's wrong with you? Not everything is a fucking syndrome. Not everything is. Exhaust all other options first, then go for the medication. Don't fucking go right off the bat. When my mom had young kids, they told her that my brother had ADHD. But instead of saying that they wanted to put him on Ritalin, they told her to sit down with him every morning and have a cup of coffee with him. They didn't know at the time, mind you, this is like in the mid 70s. They didn't know if it was, the caffeine reacting differently because of the ADHD, or if it was just like that calming moment of having just their parents' attention. But it seemed to work. And, I've noticed, I don't give my kids coffee, obviously, but when I sit down with my daughter and just have a cup of hot chocolate, or, we do mommy daughter days where we go out and we have lunch and, it's just me and her. When she gets that one-on-one time with me, that's when you see the difference in her behavior. But prior to that, if we haven't had a mommy daughter day for a long time, she starts to, get angsty. She gets very anxious and starts, getting hyper. And that's when I know, oh shoot, life got busy, got to have mommy daughter day with the little one. And, folks, a lot of this shit can be solved by just being a parent to your children and not their friend. I'm not saying be their friend. I'm saying be their parent. Your kids have enough friends. They don't need a friend. They need a mom. They need a dad. And, it's, when I was a kid, mind you, I'm the youngest of 5. My mom made an effort to have at least one day a month with all of us, each of us individually. And I'd get up in the morning and go to take my shower for school. I'd be coming out of the shower and she'd be like, hey, you want to play hooky today? They're like, okay, sure. And we'd cruise around town and we'd go stop at a shitload of bookstores and go to lunch. And it was nice having that momentary connection with my mother. And to this day, we have that connection. And, I didn't do drugs when I was a kid. I was not a drinker. I was not a partier. I was a good kid. I was a good student. And I think that connection with your parents really does make a huge difference in your children. Now, mind you, my mother was not a helicopter parent, she wasn't one of these, not my baby sort of moms. She was like, oh no, my baby. I know what she's capable of. And she put the focus on me and my behavior rather than on my teachers when there was a lack. And that, I think, is what's missing from parents these days. So that's pretty much my estimation there, folks. Not everything is a fucking syndrome. Parent your children for a fucking change. And then if things don't get better, then you go to the fucking doctor. So that's my thought processes. We'll see you next video.